Good morning, YouTubers. This is Mopar Man 1978 out here on a nice, very cool morning. Loving these temps. Anyway, update video. What I've been working on. I'll just show you. I've been working on the Valiant, but I just wanted to give you up to speed on the steering wheel. I got the a lot of the steering wheel restored as far as the sandable epoxy, that Marine Tex epoxy. This was the worst sections right here on both sides. I got that all sanded and ground out with the Dremel motor tool, and then epoxied all the way down to the frame work, and got this all sanded and got this all reinforced all the way through here. It was cracked all the way up through here, like so on and so forth. I got more of this done. This was another big spot. I got to order, come payday this week, I got to order probably 2 boxes of the same epoxy. Finished doing this one, which is real bad, and through here, and then finish doing this one all the way around because it cracked all the way around and then cracked over the top and around the back. Anyway, and then just these other ones. I got this one done all the way around, and there was cracks here, so I got to fill all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a crap load of little cracks that I got to finish. And then go over everything with like 320 grit, whatnot, and then prime it. Let the primer sit for a couple days, and then I'm going to use some of that Dupli color in the smaller cans, spray cans at O'Reilly's for like doing interior work, stuff like that. I'm going to paint it the color to match the interior like it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to find a really good quality spray can clear coat that hopefully is UV protective, and do the steering wheel in several coats of clear gloss. But show you that. This whole passenger side or driver side is all completely finished. It's got that rust killer. That was allowed to sit for like a good few days in a really hot sun and bake inside this car, all closed up. And then I came back through with a new product from Rust-Oleum. It's not like the typical rubberized undercoating that you put the real thick chunky stuff, or this lays out real thin like regular primer does, but it's a rubber anti-rust rubber coating. I did that whole floor over here, and you can't see it because the drill press, I got one little patch area to weld up, little seam I should say, stitch weld the seam over here. I got pretty much everything else done up. This has been self etching primer sprayed. I got to finish this side. Like I said, a couple little spots there, and ground everything down. All with a flux core MIG welder, and there is a couple little splatter welds here and there that looks kind of shitty, but that was because I happened to come across a couple spots that were thinner than that I cut through. They're a little weak on the back side, and they kind of burnt through, so even though on the low setting, so I had to go back through and stitch up the edges with some light weld, and then come back through and weld up the deal. But anyway, all I got left is this patch underneath here. I gotta grind on it some more and see how thin the rots there are, and then cut sections out, or I might just do the whole section. I don't know. I'm trying not to do I'm trying to do as little as possible on this. And then like I said in the last video, or one before that, I had power sprayed the entire undercarriage really good. and then let it dry for like a week. And then what I want to do is I want to come back through and hit sections of rust converter, and then hit the anti-rust rubberized undercoating, and do the whole floor, the whole floor and everything up to the underside of the firewall, and all the way back over here, clear back in the fender wells and clear up to the back bumper. And before I forget, got the Mofo driver sticker on the Valiant this morning. Okay, so here's what I was doing yesterday before work. I did like I did this morning. Got up just after the chickens were crowing, or the rooster I should say, and got my my sandblaster had been sitting out in the elements all last year, so I had to clean out the sandblaster, make sure the spray gun was still working, make sure there was no clogs in the tubes, the siphon tube and all that sort of thing. Make sure there wasn't no stuff in the blasting material that would clog it up. Anyways, got the front drums all sandblasted yesterday, and several good coats of the Rust-Oleum grill, high temp grill, gloss black paint put on it. They make gloss black, flat black, and flat white, if anybody's wanting to know, because if somebody wants to paint their headers white, they got white high temp paint. And trust me guys, VHT and Dupli color can't even hold a candle to Rust-Oleum grill paint, because I painted my new rear drums on my pickup with this same paint, the exhaust manifolds on my pickup truck, the exhaust manifold on the Slant 6 on the Dart over there, and this paint has not chipped, flaked, popped off, turned to powder, and is not burned off or anything. The manifold on the Slant 6 still looks great on the Dart. Manifolds on the truck and the drums look like I just painted them. So trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Use that stuff and you won't be disappointed. And I've also put them on I put the same paint on the headers. My buddy that's got the General Lee, I painted the Hedman headers with the same paint, and the paint has not flaked off or burnt off or anything. Now today, because yesterday I spent these, after I sandblasted them, cleaned them, and painted them several times, I left the tops of these drums to bake in the hot afternoon sun while I was at work for like 6 hours. Today, once it warms up a little bit more, because it's chilly out, I want to bring the material, this painting surface up to the temps that the paint likes to be applied at. I'm going to finish painting the edges here and down inside this groove with black paint, and come back and clean the overspray off later on these. But anyway, as you can see, definitely not being lazy on my channel. Here's the rims I started working on for the Valiant. This one was pretty rusted up, pitted. It'll still hold air and all that stuff. I'll just have them put some black sealant around the rims before they put the tire on. Excuse me. Morning clutter out of my sinuses. I got allergies, so I'm getting unclogged here this morning. Anyway, I got to go back over these because I thought I was using industrial grade primer from Rust-Oleum, and in fact this is this Rust-Oleum industrial grade gray paint. Got in a hurry yesterday, wasn't paying attention. Anyway, probably going to use some of that Rust-Oleum heavy iron oxide primer for like heavily rusted surfaces. I got to clean this crap off somehow. The one the wind blew yesterday, it scraped these little pieces that collected on the top of the rim. Anyway, this is one of the 14-inch rims. I'll be doing that, and what I'll do is I'm not painting the inside. I'm not really worried about the inside unless there's some big rusty spots, and I might scrape it and then hit it with some rust killer. But anyway, as you can see, sandblasted this yesterday. I didn't sandblast it 100%, but I'll use some rust converter on it just to make sure the rust doesn't cause the paint to flake off, even though everything has been blasted and it's got a rough texture. Once I get that side done and it bakes from the afternoon sun, then I'll start putting the Rust-Oleum industrial grade gloss black on the rims, and then I usually let that paint bake for a day and set for a couple days to make sure it's fully cured before I go slapping on tires or dog dish hubcaps or anything on the rims. This rim here, some of the tires that I bought off my mailman, that's a Mopar guy as well. He has a crap load of 14-inch tires. A lot of them are new or new used. So that's where the tires for the Valiant are coming from until I get down and save up enough money on down the road to where I buy maybe some BF Goodwrench or Cooper Cobras or something to put on the rims. But until then, to get the car rolling, whatever, it's going to be some, if I'm saying it right, Hankook brand tires. They're really good. But some of the tires came off rims like this. These are Chrysler, New Yorker, or Fifth Avenue, or whatever rims. They're 14-inch, but I want to say 4 or 5-inch inner diameter. They're small bolt pattern, but they use the big lug. So 5-on-4, but with the bigger studs, the 1/2-inch studs instead of the 7/16 studs, I think it is, yeah, or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to be painting these up, or primering and getting these. Okay, let's reverse that. Start over again. Clean them up, sandblasting them, primering them, and painting them. So if anybody's needing rims for their FM or J body, I'll have those. I'll have a complete set of those. Otherwise, they'll just be used as spare tire rims. But anyway, there's that. There's Grim, our guard dog, our faithful, trusty. Okay, sit. It's okay, Grim. You're a good boy. Okay, here we are back at the Dart, or I should say in front of the Dart. There's my 22-gallon Harbor Freight air compressor that holds oil. It's not non-oil. Works really good. No issues so far. I've had that for over 1.5 years now. Here's a sandblasting cabinet that I bought from Tractor Supply when it was real cheap. It's not the big one, but it's not small. I think it's like a medium-sized one. But anyway, bought this the other day at Harbor Freight for 60-some bucks. Come to find out, they put some really cheap nuts, bolts, washers, lock nuts, whatever, in the kit. And there was metric, and some of the bolts, nuts, and washers, etc., was missing out of the package. I guess they didn't bother to put them in the package at the factory. Typical Chinesium crap. Anyway, went to where I work. Menards got all the standard size nuts, bolts, washers, and actually I bought lock nuts, nylon lock, or the metal nuts with the nylon lock threads. Anyway, blah blah blah. Did the entire thing, top to bottom, and then the pivoting wheels that came with it. This thing is supposed to hold up to like 250 pounds or something like that. Was just really cheap crap. So again, when I was at Menards, got the really good quality heavy duty pivoting shop wheels for this, and upgraded it because I wanted to have, and by the way, this top half has been flipped upside down because it would normally be like that one there on the bottom. But anyway, had some folks had some extra brackets left over that they bought from Menards, corner brackets, and so what I did was I wanted to put my sandblasting box on top and put my welder down below so I could just pull around the yard or whatever. So I measured and cut, and as you can see, I cut off a section here, got rid of that, and then cut this down at an angle so a sharp corner wasn't sticking out. And as you can see, this comes down at an angle, and then I just used self-tapping sheet metal roof screws, and it doesn't see a lot of stress, and it holds it into place where I want it. And you know, low budget, use what you got sort of thing. And the sandblasting cabinet, it's just gets me, there we go, just gets me by on the stuff that I need to do. But before too long down the road, maybe this fall, winter, whatever, I'm going to buy a little bit bigger blasting cabinet that actually has the long legs that stands upright, so I can get bigger parts in here. The light that's provided in the that comes with the blasting cabinet is okay, but it's not bright enough. I had one of these shop lights already, so I use that in there. And then to suck the dust out, that 1 gallon shop vac I got from Walmart, Hyper Tough, does the job, keeps the dust down. And yeah, there's a couple, maybe a few other upgrades I had. Oh, and if you ever get one of these cabinets, make sure you get where it sucks the sandblasting material in down at the bottom here. Make sure you get a spring that's just wide enough to fit out on the outer diameter of this siphon tube that goes down here, but it doesn't go past where it sucks the blasting material in. Because what happens if you don't put one of these springs in there and you put a part in here, it can squish that down and put basically a kink in the line like that, and will stop your sandblasting material from coming up through your spray gun. But spray gun, I temporarily disconnected it yesterday because I wanted to use compressed air to blast off the parts of any dust and debris. Anyway, and I just used the best place I found. You would figure Harbor Freight would be cheap. They're expensive on their blasting media. This is some what do they call this? Slag. I bought a big bag of it from Tractor Supply. Well, it used to be $7 and something per 20 or 50 pound bag. The other day I looked, it was like 10 or 11 bucks. But that's where I buy my sandblasting material from. It's cheap. And then save on costs. Just one of these cheap kitchen sifters from Walmart. Just come in here, and if there's any parts or any big chunks that came off the stuff I'm blasting, or stuff that got in the cabinet, like a bug or a piece of rock or something off the rim that was stuck to the rim with tar or something like that, I get all that out of there. But anyway, yeah, so stay tuned for more updates. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.